$1 million isn't cool. You know what's cool?
$1 billion.
Rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Why? It's because the rich think about wealth and affluence all the time. And what do the poor think about? The poor think about lack, loss, and limitation, risk, danger, fear, failure all the time. So if you want to unlock your potential, if you want to go straight to the stars, you have to use the law of substitution to keep your mind on what you want.
When I wrote my book, How to Be Rich, the publishers wanted to change the title. They wanted to call it How to Get Rich. Well, I told them, getting rich is easy. I mean, any fool can get rich. And any number of fools do.
I've noticed that.
But being rich, that's something else. When a man becomes wealthy, he has to deal with the problems of freedom. All the choices he could possibly want. An abyss opens up.
Rich people think differently. So what I'm gonna put in your head today is a rich people concept. So you can get to understand it. The only difference between successful people and not is just how they think. Rich people think different. Quit letting people tell you you gotta get qualified in another program. You don't need another program to be successful. You need to change the way you think.
When you set a big goal, some people are going to look at you and they're going to laugh. They're going to say, who the hell do you think you are? It takes guts to win. That's not a normal thing.
This country, you got to make the money first. Then when you get the money, you get the power. Then when you get the power, then you get the war. That's why you got to make your own moves.
It's just money. It's made up. Pieces of paper with pictures on it, so you don't have to kill each other just to get something to eat.
When we think, we take a power that's flowing into our consciousness and we send it off into the universe through thought. Thought waves are cosmic waves. Penetrate all time and space. You gotta have loved one on the other side of the world. If they're thinking of you, you'll feel it sometimes because their thoughts will activate cells in your brain. You see, there isn't any time or space in reality. They may be on the other side of the world physically, but there's a part of you that's omnipresent.
As a man thinketh, so is he. If you think about what is missing, don't be surprised if you keep attracting what's missing into your life. If you think about what always has been, then don't be surprised if what always has been is what keeps showing up in your life. Because thoughts are energy. And the thought of it's always been this way and there's nothing I can do, resistance. What emotion am I feeling? Frustration. I want to change that. What is my guidance system? I'm going to see how in harmony am I with this energy of source, with the energy of intention. How in harmony with it am I? The source of all doesn't know anything about things being missing. There's nothing missing in this universal source, and you emanated from that. You are a piece of that.
If you have a clear picture in your head of something is going to happen, a clear belief in that it will happen no matter what, nothing can stop it, you know what I mean? It is destined to happen. This is the law of attraction, you know what I mean? You have to, in the struggle, you know, when things are going good and you visualize these good things happening, you visualize more good things happening, that's easy. What's not easy to do is when things are going bad and you're visualizing the good stuff. And that was what I was able to do. I was able to, you know, even though I was having these troubles at home, and even though I had no job, I still was able to feel like it was. Isn't it like a kid would use his imagination? I was basically just using my imagination in times of struggle. I think that really makes that law of attraction work. I think it really attracts to you more, because that is harder to do.
Visualization activates your superconscious capabilities and releases your mental potential. The clearer the picture is in your mind, the more rapidly your subconscious and superconscious go to work to bring it into your reality. There are 4 factors that determine how rapidly your visualization, your mental picture, turns into realization. The first is the length of the visualization. How long can you hold the picture of what you want in your mind? The second is the frequency of the visualization. How often do you hold that picture in your mind throughout the day? The third factor is the intensity of the visualization. How much emotion is connected to the picture that you are holding in your mind? And the fourth factor that determines the speed with which your visualization comes into reality is the vividness of the visualization. How clear is your mental picture?
Human beings are creators, as above, so below. We are a divine spark. The divine energy, the spark that creates everything in this entire universe is inside of your body, as above, so below. And because the divine energy that's flowing through everything and all living things is inside of you, you have the power of commandment, you have the power of creation, you have the power of healing. All that power exists in your body. This is what the ancients were trying to teach us from tens of thousands of years ago. This entire reality on this planet has been manifested by individuals like me and you, and we take it for granted because we don't realize what we're doing. We're creating.
If you're complaining more than you're talking about your vision, then you're in inertia. Energy goes into those lower frequencies, doubt, worry, fear, and now you're in that dynamic. But if you start talking about possibility, even if you don't know how to get there, then your energy starts to go up. You know, what if you ask a what if question? What if all my needs were met? What would I be doing in my life? What if everything is really working together for my good? What if all the bad things that have happened in my life are leading me to activating some great potential in my experience? What if God really is on my side? You ask a what if question and you start to notice little tiny miracles happening in your life. Things start to manifest. You don't know how they got there.
Write down what you want. Write as full of detail about the job, the environment, the house, the relationship. The more information you put in, the more the brain's function is to take that and turn it into reality. If you leave it blank, then the universe is going to throw blank at you. Let's just, fill in the blank. Universe, it's like, oh, I didn't want that. I said, but you never told the universe what you did want. You just said, do it. If you don't define what you want, what do you expect you're going to get?
Whenever you think of anything that causes you any concern, just say to yourself, I can do it. I can do that. I can do anything. I can do anything I put my mind to. Those are the magic words that eventually undercut and erode and wash away any fear that may be holding you back. And you repeat those over and over as affirmations, and you program them deep into your subconscious mind. At a certain point, you override all the negativity from your environment.
The law of attraction is a secondary law. It's not a primary law. It's a secondary law. The primary law is the law of vibration. Yep, you're not on the frequency, you're not going to attract it. The image you impress upon the subconscious controls your vibration, yet the vibration controls what you attract. See, it dictates the frequency you're on. You can only attract what's on the frequency. You've got to get emotionally involved with this new image. You've got to see it happening. If you dial someone's number, you're not going to get me. You got to dial my number to get me. If I don't dial your number, I'm not going to get you.
Your life self-esteem, your self-esteem, esteem for yourself is earned by you doing something difficult for you. When you do something that's incredibly hard and you push through it, your brain starts to have inner pride. I mean, what makes people happy? Progress. The purpose of life is not just to get your goals. Your goals or you're getting what you want doesn't make you happy. What makes you happy is who you become in pursuit of those goals. So the growth, the progress, even if you don't achieve it yet, but you start losing weight, or you start building muscle, or you start making your relationship better, or you start to build a business, the building, the progress is what makes you feel alive, because we're all made to either grow or die. If your relationship's not growing, it's dying. If your business is not growing, it's dying. There's no in-between bullshit. That doesn't work.
Mental rehearsal is one of these great ideas in neuroscience where you can actually install circuits in your brain, right? So everybody has done this. Musicians do it. They're playing a song in their mind all the time. Athletes do it. They're always going over their moves. Dancers do it. Actors do it. So many people rehearse mentally what they're about to do. And when they do that, they actually prime their brain. They actually can change their brain and change their body just by thought alone. So then if you're going to prime your brain for a new behavior, whether you're the CEO of a company, whether you're a parent, whether you're learning something, the more you rehearse it mentally, the more you prime your brain and body for the act. So you could actually practice rehearsing how you're going to change in your life. And if you keep doing it enough times, your behaviors will match your intentions automatically because you have the mind installed to do it.
People want to leave, men especially want to leave a legacy behind. It is in our DNA. And so for you to do that, you must have generativity. You must want to lean into becoming the best version of yourself and constantly reinventing yourself and recreating yourself and developing new hobbies, skills, traits, abilities, so that you are still interesting to people who are younger than you and who want to get motivated, inspired, and want to learn from you. Or the alternative is stagnation. The best of you is behind you. It's all downhill from here. You're entering your 40s and you're just like, I'm a hamster on a wheel, man. I do the same thing over and over again.
Every human being is a creator, and they are creating their life. And we are creating our life through our thoughts. So it's not that our thoughts are powerful, it's that we are powerful. And so when we focus on a thought and we really hold that focus, that thought will manifest in our life. Whatever we say is what our life will be. And so if we are saying, I don't have enough money, then by law of attraction, we will not have enough money. We will continue to not have enough money. So what we have to do is we need to speak about what we want and talk about what you want until you have what you want.
It's human nature. Some people will sit and take positivity from that. They will look at that and take inspiration and inspire. It will inspire them to go and push for that. Others will shell up and critique it and be negative towards it. But one thing is for sure, those people will stay where they are. The people who take inspiration from it will rise up and also one day experience that life. So this is human nature. Some go one way, some go the other way. But I am enjoying my money, my hard-earned money that I have dedicated my life to.
Don't think you are. Know you are.
If you don't specify what you want, you won't get it. If you specify what you want and you want it, which means you're willing to make the sacrifices necessary to get it, then the probability that you'll get it expands immensely. Now, of course, it assumes that what you want is within the bounds of appropriate reason, let's say. But you could also dream big, and there's always the possibility that'll work out too. Then they write for 15 minutes, okay? Your life is the way you want it to be in 4 years. What does it look like? And then we have them do the opposite, which is, all right, take stock of yourself for a minute, with all your weaknesses and inadequacies and bitternesses and resentments and sinful tendencies, let's say. Now imagine that you let all of that go. Which little corner of hell would you occupy in 3 to 5 years? Why don't you write about that? And everyone knows where they'd go if they let themselves. And so then you have something to avoid, and you have something to strive for.
The power of positive thinking is built off a Bible verse simply says, a man is as he thinketh. So if you think positive, positive things will happen to you. The reason you have to have a vision board is because of a scripture, Habakkuk 2:2. It says, write the vision and make it plain so that he who reads it will run to it. And even though it tarry, wait for it, for surely it will come at an appointed time. That's a scripture. It's not a theory that I came up with. So if God is telling you the way to become successful is to have a vision board, you can do it without a vision board, but it will explain why you don't have everything you want.
The impact can be non-perishable forever, but it's got to be built right. And we got to take advantage of the time we have right now. If you want it bad enough, you find a way. If you don't want it bad enough, you find an excuse. It's called the body weight beatdown. You don't need any weights for it. You don't need a gym membership. You don't need any barbells. You don't need any equipment. All you need is this motherfucker. That's your weight. Your body weight. Last I looked, the person that finishes the race with their hand held isn't it about the how big they are, how tough they are, their potential. It's their perseverance. Meaning it's not about the dog that's in the fight. It's the fight within the dog. Well, yeah, it's a shitty situation. I gotta go to work because I gotta pay the bills and support my family. But it doesn't mean I have to shortcut my success in what I'm doing. I'll find a way to work this out.
If you want to know something about yourself, sit on your bed one night and say to yourself, what's one thing I'm doing wrong, that I know I'm doing wrong, that I could fix, that I would fix? It's like, you meditate on that, you'll get an answer. And it won't be one you want, but it'll be the necessary one.
Write out a description of how you'd like to see yourself. Start to read it, and read it,
and read it every day. Carry it around and keep reading it. The one point that all the great teachers all down through history have all agreed on, they've been in complete unanimous agreement on it, we become what we think about. Now, it may be fantasy at first, it might even appear to us as being a lie. But if you read it often enough, you'll start to believe it. And when William James said, believe and your belief will create the fact, you will see the person's personality change. I watch people in the seminars, personality change right in front of my eyes. And all they're doing is starting to see themselves different. They're starting to think different thoughts.
The problem with the pursuit of happiness is that when life storms come along, happiness disappears, and then you're left with nothing. And so you need to pursue something that's deeper than happiness. And if happiness comes along, well then, hooray for you. You don't want to despise it because it's fleeting, but it's much better to pursue things that are meaningful than things that make you happy. It's deeper and it orients you more appropriately and it keeps you centered in your own life. It makes you more useful for your family and your community. So that's one thing. And it's a relief to young people to know that the baseline conditions of life are difficult, but that you can still prevail.
I don't know what your future is, but if you're willing to take the harder way, the more complicated one, the one with more failures at first than successes, the one that has ultimately proven to have more meaning, more victory, more glory, then you will not regret it. Now, this is your time.
Have you ever asked yourself what differentiates the winners from the masses? Well, I have. I've researched the subject now for over a quarter of a century. And I have found that the winners are aware of a certain place within. It's referred to as the higher self. And in this higher self, there's an image of perfection, which is forever attempting to express itself in a greater way. When the winner wants to turn their dreams into physical realities, they call on this higher self. And they set about and change the world, not just for themselves, but for everyone in it.
I realized that when I was 19 that these people that I hated, I was giving all the power over the fact that I wasn't the person I wanted to be. And I was like, well, it's their fault. And the idea that I had actually given these people that I hated power over my success was ultimately something that made me feel sick to my stomach and was what allowed me to point the finger of blame inwards and say my fault. And then at least take ownership over the fact that and?
Do not listen to that little voice. Instead, go through the motions. Lift the weights, sprint the hill, work on the project, get out of bed. Now, as an overall rule, I do not like procrastination. You need to get things done.
We all want to be relevant, but I think we all forget to ask ourselves relevant for what before we chase our relevance or chase success. I think there's a difference between success and profit. I mean, profit does pay you back. Can you do things, and I love money, I'm all for it, but I see a lot of one-way tickets that are, you can get successful, win, have more money, but not be making a profit in your life. How many times we sacrifice quality for quantity? The two don't have to be separate. Now, you may have to make some sacrifices of quantity to have more quality, but I think we should give quality more credit than we do.
Train your mind to see the good in every situation. Just start looking for something good. There is something good in everybody and in every situation. And there are some people and some situations that will challenge you. But you've got to focus, you got to look, and you got to say there's something good here. First time you do this, yeah, it might be a struggle. It might feel like, oh, this is really difficult. But if you stay with it, you're going to start seeing the good everywhere. That's a simple, easy, doesn't cost anything, begin it right now, way of using a technique to start to move into abundance.
I have never met anybody who became incredibly successful in any area of their life until they had suffered and sweated and sacrificed and kept their focus and fought through tears and trials and tests. And if you have a dream and you commit to it, it will come to pass.
You know, like sometimes you lay down in bed and you visualize things, at least how I would go to sleep. Lay down, I'd imagine playing for the Lakers, and I'd imagine what the uniforms look like. I'd imagine where we'd be playing and, the smell of the arena and all some stuff. And I would see myself, getting hot, scoring 10 straight points. But in a dream, like, why would you ever interrupt that? Like, you're not going to have a dream and be like, okay, then he misses his next 6. Like, it's not going to happen. So you just keep dreaming and dreaming and dreaming. And before I go to sleep, I'm like at 120 points, And so when you grow up, downloading that into your brain over and over and over, when you go out in the court and you're just executing things that you've done thousands of times before, and you have that dream, then that becomes possible.
Worst feeling in the world is to be facing death and to think, damn it, I've wasted my life. And I want people out there to realize that if you're 20s and your 30s, you don't want to reach that point. You don't want to waste your time and become 55, 58, have a stroke, face death, and what have you done? Nothing. You've moved from job to job. You tried this, you tried that with half the energy. You really have nothing to look back on. That's the worst feeling. So, I don't have that problem, I don't think. So that's part of how I'm able to stay calm. But the other thing is, you say, bring it on. What worse can happen? I've already experienced it, I'm somebody who has a great deal of fear of death, and now I had to deal with it. So, it's all right. It's not that bad. I can handle it.
These are things that we experience as athletes. Like, some days I feel like I can't make a shot, man, and the basket feels like the size of a keyhole. Yeah. And other days it looks like a swimming pool.
Yeah.
That's magic. And so we root our magic in reality so that when kids experience these things, particularly the failure side of it, they can connect it to one of our stories and say, okay, I've seen this before. I know how to do it.
You can't have someone that says, I'm not sure if I'm motivated to do this right now. What you need is someone that is going to execute what they need to execute through pure discipline. Fear is overcome. Hesitation is overcome. It's not overcome by motivation. It's overcome by discipline. That's why it trumps all these bullshit emotions that are floating around in people's head. I'm scared, I'm afraid, I'm nervous, I'm hesitant, I'm not sure if I want to do this, I'm second guessing, all those little things. They're just overridden by one thing and one thing only, discipline. And that's what it's going to take.
What I want people to understand is, regardless of how bad it is, that spot right there is their beginning. It's not the end, it's a beginning. And if they begin to just first see a best case scenario, what if this best thing happened? Name it, whatever it is. Now, the moment that happens, your cells in your body and your subjective mind does not know the difference between something that's actually happened or if it's in your mind and your emotional body. So when you begin to take that on, you start to act differently. You start to speak differently. You start to walk differently. And then what happens? The universal presence, through its law, matches that vibration, and things begin to change in your life.
I say chase your dreams, man. Do that thing, man, that keeps you up at night. That thing that bothers you, man, that makes you trip. You can't quit thinking about it. You always, that thing, man, that you wake up in the middle of the night, you got a new idea. That's what you got to chase. Because anything else, it's gonna disappoint you. You're gonna forever be sad, man. If you don't chase that dream, you're gonna forever be miserable, man.
The winners that I know always feel that they're behind. The winners that I know always feel like they should have done more at the end of the day, even though they worked harder than everyone else around them. The winners that I know always feel they're behind, that they should have done more than they did that day, that they could have achieved more, they could have made more, they could have added more value, right? And that is a mindset that you can develop. That is not some kind of innate trait that I have or other people have that you don't have. You can develop that by setting higher standards for yourself. The problem is that your mom and dad and school teachers and everybody around you has conditioned you and indoctrinated you in becoming average and accepting average.
I look at old people a lot because usually they don't give a shit anymore. They've just like given up. And there was a survey that they did where the number one reason that old people like don't have as much drama and they're happier is they cited they literally don't have time for it. Like literally they don't have time for it. And I found that so interesting. I was like, well, if I'm going to eventually be that way when I'm 80, I might as well just start being that way now.
You settle the body back down into the present moment and you tell it it's no longer the mind that You're the mind. That's a victory. Then the body says, hey dude, you're super busy. You got a lot of things to do. You got a lot of people to see. You got a lot of places to go. You got a lot of things to do. And you've been doing the same thing every day. Your body's going to want to get up and do something. You're going to want to quit because your brain's telling you that you can't do this. If you had the awareness to settle the body back down into the present moment, you would be executing a will that's greater than the program, because most people lose their free will to those programs, and it's that tedium in the beginning that is an uncompromising will, where you keep training the animal to stay, to take all of its attention off the environment, to get beyond all the cravings, feelings, the habits of the body, the drives of the body, and catch yourself defaulting to that predictable future, bringing your body back into the present moment, siphoning energy back, your attention into the past based on those familiar emotions of the past. We've discovered that if you're willing to do that for just a few days, you could actually liberate an enormous amount of energy from your body.
See, your imagination is the evidence of things not seen. You know why they call it the evidence of things not seen? Your imagination, you're the only one can see it. You're the only one can see it. See, so all this stuff you've been imagining was not some hocus pocus. When you imagine stuff, it's actually God showing you a preview of a coming attraction He has for you.
Acting like the person you would most like to look like and be like. The secret is to get and hold fast in your mind the mental image of the person you would most like to be. Then in every situation you act and talk as you feel that person would. You make the kind of decisions you think that person would. This is the way to constantly grow into a better, more effective person. You immediately begin to act with more confidence, and confidence is the first step to accomplishment. As your accomplishments begin to grow, which they most certainly will, real confidence slowly takes the place of the part you've been playing. Now, your life will not be transformed overnight. There will be no sudden miracles, perhaps, but steadily, day by day, you'll grow into the image you hold in your mind.
You have to first ask yourself, am I able to do this? Am I actually able to turn my fantasy into a fact? Now, generally, when a person doesn't know how to do something, they say they can't do it. The truth is they can. You and I are capable of doing anything. We are God's greatest creation. We're spiritual beings. And as spiritual beings, we're able to do anything at all. All things are possible. Our objective is to figure out how, not whether we're able to or not.
You can only attract according to the frequency that you're operating on. Attraction is a secondary law. The primary law is the law of vibration. That's a primary law of the universe. Everything in this room is moving. Nothing rests. This table's moving. It just appears to be still. The law of vibration decrees everything moves, nothing rests. Well, when you think, you put you under a frequency. You can only attract what's on that frequency. You think about a person line, just concentrate on that person will phone you, or you'll bump into them on the street. Because you're thinking about it, yeah? The law of attraction takes over. You could attract to you what you're in harmony with. But when you set goals, you got to see yourself already there. That's called a mindset. A lot of people talk about mindset, they don't understand what it is. They set their mind on the frequency that they have to be in to attract what they have to attract.
I think playing out the fear is a mile wide and an inch deep. And so it looks like this ocean that you're going to step into and drown. But as soon as you step into it, you realize it was not that deep at all, and you can keep walking through it. And I just love that visual, because a lot of times when it's like we have this anxiety around this big decision we have to make, if you actually take the step and realize that it's not death, you're not going to drown immediately. There's plenty of other steps you can take from there, even if you get a little wet.
Let the sand represent your life. The sand in the bottom of the glass would represent the past. The sand in the top of the glass would represent the future. There's nothing you can do about the past. That is gone. Too many people spend their time living there, wishing they had done this or wishing they had done that. It's gone. And here's the beautiful truth. Let me use the Born Rich or the Think and Grow Rich book here to show you, you don't know how much sand is in the top of the glass. Now you may think you have a lot, you only have a little. Here's the point. The only time you've got is right here, right now. So being worried about the past or the future is foolish. If we make up our mind, we're going to do what we feel is the best thing for us right now, we're going to have a pretty good life.
Whatever you learn, man, whatever that guy taught you, you think maybe you can rub a little of that magic onto me?
It's not magic, Tommy. Just getting rid of all that bullshit you have up in your head. It tells you might not be enough. So when you get up there, you make every move about the move. Alright? Not about the gold. Not about what your dad thinks about you. Not about anything. But that one moment in time.
What one day in your career would you relive?
None of them, because I live for today. And whatever's happened in the past, I leave there. I don't even go back and watch fights that I've had, ever. I don't relive the past at all because it's gone, I know I can't get it back. And I'm almost obsessed with time. I've got a real obsession with the way it evaporates and the way that 1 minute we're here and in a minute it'll be like, when I done that interview with Tyson, it was like 3 years ago, and it'll go like that, bang. And I've really got an obsession with time, so I live for now. Tomorrow, not promised to nobody. Yesterday can never get back. So today, I enjoy today and I live for today.
A wise person once said, "What surprises me most about humankind is that we get bored of our childhood, rush to grow up, and long to be children again. That we lose our health to make money, and then lose our money to restore our health. That by thinking anxiously about the future, we forget the present, such that we live in neither the present nor the future. That we live as if we were never going to die, and die as though we've never lived."
There's a law of the universe called the law of abundance, the law of attraction. You can have anything you want once you know what it is. One of the main lessons you come to Earth to learn is how to manipulate energy. Everything is energy. And you come to Earth to learn how to manipulate that, to be a master manifester. First, you have to know what you want. And a lot of people say, well, I need this, I want this. Those are the wrong words. In creating your reality, if you say, I need, I want, well, see, you're creating a lack. And you're putting it off by, I want it. No, the wording is, I have it. And you gotta believe it. Because if you can see it in your mind as already done, already happened, it must occur. That's a law of the universe.
The act of rehearsing mentally in your mind who you want to be, the act of just closing your eyes and mentally rehearsing that scene literally causes the brain to look like you already did it. Keep doing it over and over again. The hardware becomes more automatic, like a software program. You naturally get your behaviors to match your intentions because you installed the circuitry. Practice feeling the elevated emotion. If you feel that emotion and you say, when I feel this emotion, I can believe in that future, then let me just keep remembering to feel this way in every part of my day. And this is not about positive thinking. This is about conditioning my body emotionally into the future. So if I maintain this modified state of mind and body my entire day, should there be some evidence in my life as a result of my change in state of being, a synchronicity, a coincidence? And if there is, then I'm going to do it again. And I think that's how we start stepping into that future.
You take the description of the new you that you wrote up. That new description should include no negatives. It should be in the present tense. It should not say I am going to become. It should say I am. I am so happy that I am, and describe everything that you want to be. As you write out this description of you, you're literally building brain cells. Those new brain cells hold an image of the new you. Now, this is how the change is made. You use this and you let yourself totally relax. Don't try and relax. Let yourself relax. You let yourself get emotionally involved in this image. And you know that every time you do, in a very relaxed state, wham, you just trigger those brain cells. But you know every time you do that, you're giving more and more energy to those brain cells. And in a relatively short period of time, those ideas will be fixed in your mind, and that's the way you'll live.
So to create what you really care for, first and foremost thing is that what you want must be well manifested in your mind. That this is what I want. Is that what you really want? You must look at it, because any number of things in your life you have thought, this is it. The moment you reach there, you realize that's not it. So what is it that one really wants is one thing. First of all, we must explore. Once that is clear, and we are committed to creating it, now there is a continuous process of thought in that direction. Once you can maintain a steady stream of thought without changing direction, definitely this is going to happen in your life, or it will definitely manifest as a reality in your life.
You can manifest absolutely anything that you want in this life, but you've got to deeply, deeply imagine it, and not just imagine it from the outside looking in. You have to imagine you are there. You have to feel the feeling of where you are, smell the smells, listen to the sounds. You have got to trick your mind and body into believing it is real. It will put an imprint on the universe and it will pull you towards it.
It turns out that you have to feel the emotion of the future before it happens, because the emotion is the energy that's going to drive your body to that end. And at the same time, if you're truly practicing feeling the emotion of your future, you won't be in lack. The moment you feel gratitude, your healing begins. Wow. The moment you're empowered and you're worthy, you're stepping or generating abundance, you're stepping towards your success. Now, the moment you're in love with yourself and in love with life and you see beauty in all things, it's natural that you'll attract an equal. So this is when the synchronicities, this is when the opportunities, this is when the coincidences, all of a sudden you no longer have to go anywhere and do anything. Somehow there's an attraction, they're coming to you. They're coming to you without having to do anything.
You are going to use manifestation to mentally prepare before and while you're doing the work to achieve your goals and dreams. Because when you mentally prepare, you remove all of the obstacles like self-doubt and nerves and anxiety and imposter syndrome and fear that are currently stopping you from taking action.
Understand, this is an orderly universe you and I are part of. We are God's highest form of creation. There's nothing that will equal us. We can accomplish anything, but we've got to raise our level of conscious awareness. We've got to understand these laws, and we've got to live in harmony with them. That's when we're going to start to get the good we desire. It's a beautiful thing to understand. I thank God I understand it. Solomon said, in all you're getting, get understanding. Understand the law of vibration. You understand that, everything else is going to fall into place for you.